This next section is going to deal with percent word problems. You've had some experience solving some word problems up to this point, and we're going to take a look at specifically solving percentage word problems. Something that all of the percent word problems will have in common is that they are going to contain a part, a whole, and a percent. Three things. Now, one of those three things is going to be missing. It's going to be the thing that's being asked for. And the other two are going to be given to you in order to allow you to calculate the missing thing. The percent, to jump down to here, is always the thing that has the percentage sign with it. It'll be easy to pick out. The whole, for the most part, comes after the word of. Now, in a few cases, the word of won't be there, but you'll be able to pick it out by the fact that it is the whole amount or the whole thing. I'll give you a few examples in a minute. And the part is the piece of the whole. Let's take a look at an example to help you to define these things a little bit better. As a first example, if I asked, what is 15% of 110? Okay, looking up to our definitions, 15 comes with a percentage sign attached to it. That is our percent. 110 comes after the word of, so that must be our whole. And the thing that is missing, because we've been given the percent and the whole, is the part. That's the what of the question. We're looking for the piece of 110 that would be 15%. The part is the piece of the whole. The whole is the whole thing, in this case 110, and the percent is the thing that comes with a percentage sign, and in this example it's 15. Let's do one more. 35 is what percent of 150? Again, let's start with what's easy. The thing that's coming with the percentage sign is the word what. That must be what we're looking for. We're looking for the percent. Once we learn how to solve these, we will be solving for the percent in this question. Coming after the word of is 150. That is the whole. And 35 is the piece of the whole that we're referring to, so we're going to call it the part. Now, it would be a wonderful world if all of our questions were in that nice, easy format. But that's not always going to be the case. Let me give you an example. You scored 55% on a math test that had 165, let me fix that 6 there. Fix the 6 and wreck the 5. $165 1-mark questions on it. How many questions did you get right? That's a lot of words. What we want to do is attempt to convert this into an easier format so that we can label our part and our whole and our percent. Going back to that previous format, with all these words, what's really being asked is, what is 55% of 165? 55 is our percent. 165 is the whole. And what is the part or the piece of the 165 of the whole that we're trying to determine? Because if we can figure out the part of 165, that is 55%, we'll know how many questions we got correct. I think it's worth doing one more. Taking a wordy question. Let's say that you make $525 each week. You would like to save $75 towards a new car. What percent of your income will you save? Again, a lot of words. That's actually 3 whole sentences, but we should be able to condense that down into a nice statement. We can see that it's the percentage that we're looking for. We've got the what percent. We can see that we've got this total here, our income for the week, and we've got this part that we want to save. So putting that into a statement, I could say $75 is what percent of $525? This is our percentage. This is our whole. And this is our part. Now we're going to move on to actually solving some of these problems. Hopefully you're comfortable picking out the 3 things that are present in all percent problems: the part, the whole, and the percentage. And we're going to be using what's called a fraction method. There are other ways to solve percent problems. In the books that accompany this course, they also show the decimal method. I'm only going to be using the fraction method here in this video, as well as in the notes that accompany the video, because I find it to be the easiest method and one that can be extended into some of your other math that's coming up when you move through to the ACE math units. Let's start with a statement. 4 out of 5 dentists recommend sugar-free gum. That's a statement that I've stole from TV. You might have heard it before. Let's add here, this is 80% of the dentists. By adding that statement, I haven't left an unknown. I've done that on purpose so that you can see how we set up our problems using the fraction method. 80 is our percent. 4 is the piece of the whole, or the part. And 5, of course, is the whole, all of them, the whole amount. With the fraction method, we'll put an equal sign and we'll start to set up our fractions. I've got my lines there to put my numerators over my denominators. And I'm always going to set it up like this. Part over whole equals percent over 100. So taking all the different pieces out of this question, it would be 4 over 5 equals 80 over 100. What you can see we've ended up with, since we don't have an unknown, is 2 equivalent fractions. Equivalent fractions are something that you've studied in a previous unit. 4 times 20 equals 80, and 5 times 20 equals 100. Because these are in proportion to each other, these are equivalent fractions. What we're going to do now is take a look at an actual question that has an unknown, and I'll show you how to solve it. Let's start with a not wordy problem as an easy start. 6 is what percent of 36? What percent is the thing we're looking for? 36 is the whole, and 6 is the part. Hopefully, you'll have no trouble picking out those 3 things. If you need more practice, skip ahead to the exercise at the end of this lesson and practice until you are comfortable with it. Setting up our problem using the fraction method, we said we would put part over whole and percent over 100. Taking the pieces out of our question, the part is 6, the whole is 36, and the percent is the thing we don't know and we'll be solving for. Now the hard work's done. Here's the easy work. Every time you're solving one of these questions, you need to look diagonal for two knowns. In this case, we've got the 6 diagonal from the 100. We know those two things. If I looked in the other direction, I don't know this one here, so that's not the proper way. I want to go with the 6 and the 100 because they are diagonal from each other and both known. Once you've found that, that's your multiplication. So we want to do 6 times 100 for a total of 600. The other number that did not get used or was not diagonal from something that we knew is what we're going to divide by. So we need to take our 600, the answer that we had from here, and divide by that last number, which is 36. At this point, and for this lesson, you should be using a calculator. If you want to attempt to use long division and divide 600 by 36, for extra practice, by all means, but it does open up an opportunity to make mistakes in these questions, and I think I would rather have you concentrate on the question itself as opposed to the long division, which you've already learned. Regardless of how you do it, whether with a calculator or using long division, when I take 600 and divide it by 36, I get 16.6, and then it repeats on and on and on. 6, 6, 6, and another 6. So I'm going to round this to the 10th position and call it 16.7. So as a final statement, I can say 6 is 16.7% of 36. Let's try another one. Clear this off of here. And I'll say, what is 35% of 500? 35 is our percent. 500 is our whole. And what? The thing that we are looking for is the part. Setting it up as you've learned already, we'll put the part, which is a thing we don't know, over the whole, which in this case is 500, and the percent over 100. Now that we've set it up, we'll do the easy piece, which is taking the two knowns that are diagonal from each other. We will multiply them together. And we'll get an answer for that. Again, I suggest using a calculator. So 35 times 500 is 17500. And then we'll take that answer and do our division by the other number that we did not use, divided by 100. Please don't pick up a calculator to do that. We know that division by a number such as 100 just makes us move the decimal over. In this case, 2 spots equal to the 2 zeros, so the answer would be 175. As a final statement, we can say 175 is 35% of 500. Okay, one last problem. Let's clear this off. And let's look at a more wordy question. Tom donates $20 each week to the local food bank. Second part will say this is 5% of his gross income. Gross meaning the total amount he makes in a week before they take off any taxes. Finally, in our nice wordy question, we're going to say, what is Tom's gross income? You may be able to pick out the pieces without rewording this. Let's see if we can do it, and then I'll write it out in short form for you afterwards. 5% is the most obvious because it comes with that percent sign. So that must be our percent. And the question gives us one other number, which is that $20. And $20 is the piece of his whole income. His whole income would be the thing that we're looking for. This $20 that we're given is the part or the piece of the whole. The what right here is the whole. For those of you that could find those things within that wordy question, great. And for anyone that would like to take some time and rewrite it to make sure that they've got those things labeled correctly, we could say $20 is 5% of what amount? And we would still come up with 20 being the part, 5% being the percent, and the what being the whole. Now it's time to set it up and solve. Make yourself a couple of fractions to be filled in. The part, and I'm just going to put 20. I'm not going to bother with the dollar sign. I can put the dollar sign back in at the end with my answer. Over the whole, that's the thing I don't know. And the 5, which is my percentage, goes over 100. The diagonals, the two things that are diagonal across, up and down from each other that I need to multiply are the 20 times 100. 20 times 100 would be 20 and a couple more zeros for a total of 2,000. And then 2,000 needs to be divided by 5. That's the number that did not get used when we were looking for our diagonals. And we'll get an answer of 400. So as a final statement, we could say Tom's gross income is 400, and now I'll put my dollar sign back in.